Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? First and foremost, if you saw my top 10 markets earlier this morning, the live stream, you will know that we have an air conditioning problem here in Mountain View. It is out. I'm here to report it is now fixed. I'm feeling cool air in my studio, and I'm so thankful. Anyways, I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of headlines in the last 48 hours about the real estate market going to crash. They're pointing at FHA delinquencies up 60%, going from 11% to 16%. Lots and lots of scary numbers. A lot of talking heads on YouTube and other financial networks pointing at that and other things that are going to go bad for the real estate market. So I want to come to talk to you because I've invested through a crash before. I look at the real estate market every day. I look at it differently than most folks who just talk about it. I make offers on properties, I sell properties, I own properties. So maybe my experience is a little different than most. So a couple of things. First off, when you talk real estate and you talk nationally, it's almost impossible to make a call. So what I'm about to talk to and why I think most people are wrong when they talk about real estate crash is I think there are a few markets that will crash. And let's just say a crash is 10% of value. I think New York is in trouble. San Francisco is in trouble. LA is in trouble. Seattle is in trouble. Big vertical cities are in trouble. And if you throw on top of that big vertical cities that are looking to raise taxes, like New York, like San Francisco, like Seattle, that is a recipe for the, I don't know, rich to leave, right? Another reason to leave. So there are going to be some markets that get smoked. I think there are some markets that could be down for 5 or 10 years, the list I just gave you. But I believe most markets, right? Most suburb markets, like when I think of geographic, it's probably 90% of the US geographically. I think most of the market is going to be okay or even up. We are seeing the exodus or the urban flight, and it's just accelerating. Just today, I saw Amazon is looking to invest $1.5 billion in 10 different cities not named Seattle. Can you imagine? Seattle is going to raise the taxes on Amazon, and Amazon goes, F you, Seattle. We're going to put $1.5 billion to work in other markets. That's why Seattle's in trouble. San Francisco, oh, we're going to raise taxes on the high earners. Pfft, out. New York, we're going to raise taxes on the billionaires. Out, not coming back. But again, let's do the math on why most of the suburb markets are fine. So I'm going to give you all the numbers, and you could adjust them to your market, right? So I have a lot of markets here, and this is mainly going to be about FHA, right? FHA 3.5% down, 16% delinquencies, 60% increase, all of those things. So in order to start this, we have to assume an average price. And I'm just going to generically pick $200,000, okay? So if the house that this FHA buyer is doing is 200 grand, they have to put down 3.5%. So 3.5% of $200,000 is 7 grand, okay? So we're going to go through lots of numbers. You can write them down. You can change them to your market because I'm just going to give you the math, and then you could play with them in your market. So for this theoretical example, this FHA buyer has $7,000. They put that down on a $200,000 house. They get a mortgage for 193 grand. Let's assume that 193 grand is an interest rate of 3.5%. Adjust accordingly. I have a full payment of 867. Now it is very likely they're going to have PMI on top of that, or I'm sorry, yeah, private mortgage insurance on top of that. It's going to be 150 bucks or so. I'm not sure what to put there, so I didn't, but we could add that if relevant. Let's assume that the average FHA buyer that is now delinquent or in trouble has had that loan for 2 years. It's hard to say, right? Some have had it for 5 years, some have had it for 5 minutes. I'm going to pick 2 years for this example. And again, adjust to your examples. So if you've had your home for the last 2 years, you are in really good shape. Most markets have seen appreciation the last 2 years. So let's assume year one appreciation was 5%. Again, adjust to your market. And then the last 12 months has seen double that, has seen about 10% appreciation. Again, adjust to your market. So if that is true, let's do the math on that. The first purchase was $200,000, so 5% appreciation on that is 10 grand. That house is now worth 210. And then the second year was 10% appreciation or an extra 21 grand. So that 200K house after year one and then year two is now worth $231,000. We are about to see why all of these delinquencies will not cause price deterioration because the owners have equity. That's the magic. That's what happened last time that smoked a lot of people out of the market is they didn't have equity. So why sell, right? They had no equity, so they just sat on their hands and let the system go through, and 6, 9, 12, 15 months later, they were kicked out. Trust me, if you have no income, but you have 10 grand or 15 grand sitting in your house, you'll sell. You'll be like, I'm gone. I'll take the 10 grand and move somewhere. So let's do the math. So the house is worth 231, right? Because we've had it for 2 years. Again, adjust accordingly. Let's assume the loan balance is still 193, even though you've had it 2 years. It might be 192 or 191, but let's just assume it's still 193. Let's assume you have 7% selling cost, which is 6% realtor commissions and then $1,000 in other fees. Again, adjust accordingly. If you want it to be 5, make it 5. You want it to be 8, make it 8. I assumed 7. So 7% selling fees on 231 grand is $16,170. And then we also have to include 6 months of non-payment. Again, I assumed 6 months. If you want to assume a year, assume a year. I assumed 6 months. So 6 months of non-payment is $867, the mortgage payment, times 6, which is $5,202. So there's all your fees. So if we subtract $231,000, which is going to be their sale price, minus their loan balance of 193, minus their transaction cost of 16,170, minus their 6 months of no payments of $5,202, you know what they're left with? They're left with $16,628. And oh, by the way, let's not forget, they only put $7,000 down. They doubled their money. They more than doubled their money. Again, lots of assumptions. You have to make assumptions when you're doing this across the U.S. But most suburban markets have seen nice appreciation in the last 2 years. You assume a purchase price of $200. You assume some appreciation. Most folks are not only going to get their original 7 grand back after transaction cost, after late payments, after paying off their loan. That's what's different this time. The reason you have a short sale is you have no equity. You cannot have a short sell if the owner is going to walk away with 16 grand. They will stick a sign in the ground fast. That's what is different. These people that are screaming, and I see them on YouTube, I don't know how my channel gets them, but they're coming up in my feed. Market's going to crash, FHA loans, this, that, the other thing. Folks, this time is different. The Fed and the Treasury have created a forbearance period. The market is hot. All this inventory is not there, so that it's just appreciating. And then when you have to sell them one at a time, it's not going to flood the market. It's a very different game. Now, if you're in New York, I wish you luck. If you're in San Francisco, I wish you luck. In LA and Seattle. Vertical cities, in trouble. Vertical cities raising taxes, oh, killer. So in the end, I think as long as most suburban markets have a low supply like Fresno at 1 month, it doesn't matter if they have 400 FHA buyers that are in trouble. That stuff will get absorbed in a minute, and those people will have equity. They'll take the 7 grand they put down and walk away with 16. That's a win. They can take the 16 and move somewhere else. So trust me, this time is different. This is not set up to have short sales and foreclosures, at least not in most of the geographic US. Some of these cities are going to experience pain like they've never had before. There will be jumbo loans in these big cities that go bad. It's going to happen, but most of the US is going to be okay. So if you like these kind of videos, you like this math, you like the logic, do me a favor, hit subscribe, hit thumbs up. I appreciate all the love. I am looking forward to getting to 9,000 subscribers. I think we're about 100 or so away, 110 or something like that. So if you can help me get to 9,000, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care. I am so thankful to have AC back. The last 48 hours have not been fun. Take care. Bye.